Hey drummers, Garey Williams is back with another reaction and analysis video. In today's video, we're going to watch and listen to the one and only Simon Phillips. This guy is one of my favorite drummers on the scene today. So let's check it out. Great camera. All right, some cool stuff already. Just a little theme, dum 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 bum, little call and response, nice little paradiddles, four strokes on each hand. Beautiful big setup. This guy's drum kit has grown. It's been interesting to follow his career over the years. It's been mostly this size, but it's actually become expanded more recently. We're gonna listen more. Fives there, mostly singles. Nice. Here it is. Gong bass drum, cool. Okay, now that's just super cool. Triple stroke rolls, beautifully executed. The drums can't be that taut. I mean, hearing the sound of the pitch of the drums is getting lower. He has large cylinders, which you can crank up, and they'll still produce a overall lower tone and project more if with a higher tuning. Lower tunings don't project as much, so it also gives you more rebound. So he was playing like triplets, I think, because I think this is the pulse. He's doing some nines, sevens, and fives between the hands, mixtures of doubles and singles, and some nice flams, some hertas, and some really cool, beautiful single strokes moving around the drums. Pretty clean for going around that much distance. But then at the end there, he's doing double beat triplets, concept where he's playing a triplet rhythm and then double stroking. But faster, of course, and of course you get some rebound and some push-pull technique with the sticks, and so he's able to do that. And then he went into jigga-da-digga-da-digga-da-digga-da-da, where I pause it, was doing triple stroke rolls. So cool the way he's transitioning from faster rhythm, triplets with doubles, which is basically 16th note triplets, into 8th note triplets with each hand playing a triple stroke. Okay, right hand, right foot. Right foot's involved now. Hand foot patterns. Okay, those are like 5. Fours. Wow. Threes. Nice. It's almost like a 5-stroke roll between the hands. He's added more snares. I love the no snares on. Nice. Now I think he's right, left on the bass drums. Nice. Gosh, it's so cool. Yeah. All right, 1 up, 2 down. Okay, right hand. I think those are kind of 6s. Yes. Okay, this kind of flammy stuff between the cymbal and the snare drum and a crash. So basically, with the bass drum hitting with the cymbal, so blocking, stuff I heard Vinny Collier do a long time ago. I'm sure he got it from Tony Williams, and who knows, maybe it came before that. But just beautiful flowing around the drums. Now I'm really happy about the hi-hat. I love, before I sensed this time, but it wasn't clear. Now with the hi-hat going, you obviously have kind of your built-in metronome on the drum set, the left foot keeping time, and that way we can really hear kind of the different shaka-da-do-ga-do-da, kind of the triple lit stuff he did versus the shaka-digga-digga-digga. So it really defines the subdivisions of the rhythms that he's playing in, from triplets to 16th note triplets, faster, and some cool flam accent stuff, the kind of stuff you hear Tony do is instead of alternating right, left, right, it's always left, right, left. Left, right, left. That's the way a lot of those guys play that. Block it, da. Very reminiscent of stuff I heard Billy Cobham. The thing about Simon is he's kind of a unique drummer in that he's primarily open-handed. In other words, he's left-hand lead. So you see his ride cymbals over there above the hi-hat. And you might have noticed in some of the angles and just from here that the hi-hat cymbal's actually angled. It's on a kind of a stand where it's tilted. And then it's very low. And the reason for that is because he's playing the hi-hat with the left hand. He doesn't cross over. He does play sometimes with the right hand on a right kind of ride cymbal and a set of right hi-hats occasionally on some of the kits I've seen in the past. But in this case, he's mostly a left-hand or open-handed player. Billy Cobham was the same kind of player. And he was one of the first so-called open-handed drummers, meaning the hands are open and not crossed. That's where the concept comes in. Carter Beauford with the Dave Matthews Band, another drummer I'll be doing a reaction video on coming up. But he's another one of those great drummers. And he has his 2 ride cymbals right up over the left side of the hi-hats because he's riding with the left hand. So very cool stuff. Single stroke roll. Call and response. Double strokes, kind of. Whoa! So a lot of this right hand accent lead stuff. So the left hand's the accompaniment hand, the right hand's traveling around and hitting the cymbals, and the bass drum's tagging the right cymbals. Some threes, some fours. Looked like there was a couple sevens in there, or some fives at the end. Oops, that was. That's 20. Beautiful triple stroke roll. Jeez. Two up, two down. Love the cadence. Influence. Hand, foot, hi-hat. Yes! Now, I'm going to pause it right there. Right there. Yeah, that's better. Now look at the right hand grip and the left hand grip. So this is the 10 and 2 position, meaning a lot of drummers were taught to keep the palms flat, right? Thumbs to the side facing each other, the butt and the sticks outside, snow plow, big pizza wedge. Well, his hands are actually more like this, okay? And his elbows are still out. But ergonomically speaking, you've got these two bones, knuckle bone, this bone. If you follow the knuckle bone, it becomes your elbow bone. So these bones are like this here, but by the time they get to your elbow, they're actually vertical. So when your arms are completely flat, you can't really rotate your wrist too much more as you get going without using elbows and shoulders. So when your hands are in this position, you've got lots of rotation going back and forth. It's just ergonomically more actually centered in terms of your hand positions, not, you know, obviously we got here German grip, we got the French grip. This really more the American grip, as they call it. So we're halfway between the French and the German. Gordy Knudsen, the drummer for Steve Miller's band, has a really interesting instructional video called the open and close technique, where you move your hand down and up. You move your hand down, your fingers open. You move it up, your fingers close. Because one of his students was actually a sports trainer and physical therapist and understood all the bones and muscles. And so kind of showed him that this hand position was ergonomically right balanced. And this was a little extreme. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, because there's all these positions do different things for different effects. But you'll see that the left hand, I think the thumb is a little more on top. In the right's a little bit more angled. He is a left dominant drummer. So oftentimes, if you're playing the ride cymbal, your hand just goes like that. If you try to keep your thumb to the side, play a ride cymbal, you'd have to hold your arm out in some awkward position. So you just kind of windshield wiper your hand and do that. So anyways, just want to bring that up because that's part of why he gets that great fast finger control stroke singles that you saw from the under camera angle. Love that. 7, 1, 2, 5. Singles. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 5. So do you hear that? Ba ba bucket 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 2 1 2 3 4 5 6 ta 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 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. A lot of little sevens. Ooh. Now feels like the highest on the offbeat. There we go. Love that stuff. Harvey Mason. Okay, that's right, right, left. 7. Now, see, the thing about 2 bars of 7/8 a bar 7/4, right? 2/8 adds up to the quarter notes, right? 7. Anyways, the idea is that he's got his foot going and he da 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 da. So it takes 7 quarter notes for that downbeat to come back out. So that's kind of the way it works. Is that 2 bars of 7/8 equals 1 bar of 7/4. So his hi hat is playing 6 7. So that's kind of how it comes back and forth. It's very cool. Triple stroke roll. Real good left hand and right hand crashes. He went from 16 note, 16 note triplet. Love this. Fives in the right hand. 1, 2, 1. Nice. 3 up, 1 down. Then he doubled the bass, right? So very cool stuff like that. Notice his right bass drum and left bass drum. If you look at the lights, sort of okay, but do you see all that stuff inside? He developed this kind of tuning system where I watched some of his instructional videos many years ago, and the guy actually stood and trampolined on his bass drum head. It was a plexiglass stage and had a camera underneath it, and when he would put a drum head on, he would actually step on top of the bass drum and literally start jumping it. I mean, it was like, he said, never pulled one out of a bass drum yet, but it was crazy how much he wanted to seat that head and soften the collar. He's a Remo drumhead guy. And so what he did is he takes a king-size towel and rolled it up in kind of a long sort of, if you will, hot dog shape of sorts, and then lays it down into the bass drum bottom and tapes it against the batter head. And so he has something, I think, similar like that to the resonant head, or maybe not at all. And then in the studio, he would put foam in there to hold it, and then some kinds of paint can or weight just to give it the right amount of tack and support. But a certain kind of sound that he would get by just not having a pillow thrown in the bottom of the drum shell, so it would basically muffle some of the resonance of the natural wood cavity, when you wouldn't do that with a tom or snare. So I think that's the philosophy. We just want to muffle the head some and reduce some of the length of the ring, add some presence to the attack, but not completely stuff the bass drum so that it sounds so dead. It doesn't have a natural low-end resonance. So that's partly his tuning method. Dave Weckl adopted that, and Remo has designed since then an adjustable bass drum muffle system with C Velcro clamps. Very cool. Actually use it. Works beautifully, so you don't have to roll up a towel and use duct tape and do all that stuff. It's actually a manufactured product at the Remo website if you want to check it out. That really gives you that nice bass drum sound. So really good angle of the feet. Some very cool stuff. Let's continue. And that almost sound like fours with a double stroke on top. A lot of guys play fours, 2 up, 2 down, hands and feet. But he's got very cool. That was a little unclear. Left foot was still on the hi-hat. Now it's over on the left pedal, so he's doing some double footwork. But I think that was mostly left, left, right. Threes, very, very fastly executed between the left hand playing a double and the right foot playing a single as he's keeping time on the cymbal. God. Wish his left foot wasn't in the way. Beautiful doubles. Just doubles. Push-pull technique. Little tracking issue on that foot cam. God, his triple stroke rolls are so cool. It must be. All right. One up, two down. That is clean stuff. I heard Vinny do that. The right hand's traveling, left hand stays on the snare. Stuff like that. Just the idea to go up and down so cleanly, keeping the dynamics in check, bringing out the right hand, just crescendos, diminuendos, rim shots. Guy's got phenomenal control. Just love his musicianship. The fact that he keeps these thematic things going throughout the solo, revisits them, the dynamic contrast. So much great stuff going on. Cool. Quads. Inverted doubles, triples. Back to doubles, those are singles. Buzz. Near the edge. Look at that pinch. Yeah. Oh, man. Maybe his hands are a little tired. God, he was working. That guy was covering a lot of bases in that solo for sure. Oh, man. Great Simon Phillips. And again, his instructional videos, I highly encourage. I don't know how many drummers out there really do this. Back in the day, before we had all this great YouTube, you could only watch these drummers really if you went to go see them live, and maybe they appeared in some kind of a special concert footage on TV. But generally it was through live gigs, and then of course to really get inside their mind you would watch their instructional videos. So I had a whole stack of videos that I used to buy, tons of them. At some point I should do an inventory of all the videos I've watched over the years. And then of course they turned into DVDs, and now you can get all this stuff. I think it's Hudson Music. You can digitally download a lot of stuff. They got all my books in digital format up there now. So, but great stuff that these guys talk about, and just to sit there and watch them and hear how they're putting all these ideas together. And of course in the instructional videos they really break things down. And I remember one particular track he did that had this kind of it was a fast kind of a shuffle, not quite hot for teacher fast, but definitely up there. And how solid the guy was. Left foot lead, doo-ka-doo-ka-doo-ka-doo-ka-doo-ka-doo, all the way through, and some triplets, and just a great feel. He has this sort of Jeff Porcaro vibe about his groove, and this is borrowing a friend of mine, Joe Bergamini's concept. And he has like the chops of a Dave Weckl, but a feel of a Jeff Porcaro, and that's not dissing either any drummer by saying that, but his unique hybrid of groove and facility around the drum set and the open-handed stuff that he's been doing. And now he's been expanding his kit more recently. Had a couple of new custom-made snare drums. So I think he's running with a primary snare, left side snare, and then a right smaller snare. And it was all snares off at first, and you could see and hear when he turned them back on. Great camera angles, some great stuff. There's only one spot in there I was not really sure what was going on. Could have been a really fast double stroke with the right foot. Probably is what it was. It's just with the angle of the feet, I could only see so much with the right foot because it seemed like the left leg was right in the way of the right leg. So you couldn't always see what was going on. So some great stuff. And for some of you that may not know about this feature on YouTube, is that if you click the little gear wheel, you can, of course, slow the tempo down, but there's a button called Customize. Now, if you hit the Customize button, then you can incrementally slow it down, at least in 5 points, so then you can sort of not have it go way down where it's sort of too slow to understand, but start to slow it down. I also use a program called the Amazing Slowdowner on my, or excuse me, the one I use is Tempo Slow-Mo for my iPhone, but for Droids there's an Amazing Slowdowner. Some of these apps allow you to put music into your devices and slow them down, and don't change the key, so then you can really clearly hear what's going on. So take advantage of some of those features so that you can kind of demystify some of the great stuff these drummers are doing, and I hope some of my explanations are also shedding some light on some of the things that are going on. Some really nice things in that solo for sure. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up, like my channel, share it with your friends, and I'll see you on the next reaction and analysis video. Until then, have a great day. Bye-bye.